SURFCAM Part Modeler is a tool specifically designed for quick and simple construction and modification of solid models with fully associative drafting capabilities. Part Modeler's intuitive user interface can be quickly and easily tailored to individual requirements with features such as dockable windows and customizable menus and toolbars, ensuring a highly productive, smooth, and seamless progression from design concept through to finished component and detailed drawing. When working with other systems, SURFCAM's Part Modeler will import and manipulate files from most CAD systems, including SolidWorks, Solid Edge, CATIA, Parasolid, Autodesk Inventor, ACES, Creo, and NX. Over the course of this video, I'll be introducing you to SURFCAM Part Modeler's capabilities as we design and draw this part on the screen. To begin, I'm going to go up to the top where it says File. We'll click on File, New, and then Model. Most things in Part Modeler start with a 2D profile, so I'm going to sketch out a 4-inch by 3.75-inch rectangle on the screen. Click OK, and then we'll move these dimensions. Next, I'll copy that rectangle that I've just created. I'll just draw a box around it, right-click on the screen, left-click on Copy, and then we'll paste it onto the screen so we have two rectangles of the same size. I'm going to overlap them now, and then I'm going to move a portion of these two rectangles to our part 0 right in the center. And we'll trim away the extra geometry that we don't need after I move these dimensions. We'll go over to the scissors icon on the right hand side and click on the 4 lines that I don't need. That will trim the two rectangles to each other. Next, we'll put it into an isometric view because I want to be able to extrude this component downwards, and I want to be able to see that. We go to New Component Extrude. You can see we're extruding downwards 2 inches. I'm going to extrude a solid body from that profile I've created. So if I preview that, we've got a solid block that is the shape of the two rectangles. Next, I want to put a couple of fillets in here, so I'm going to go to a shaded with wireframe mode. I'll enter in a 3/8 inch radius. I'm going to pick the two vertical lines where those two blocks intersect. I'll hold the control button down, pick those two, apply that fillet to it, click OK. We'll go back to the solid mode, and you can see the fillets have been created. And over on our history tree on the left-hand side, we've got fillet 1. Now I've picked the top face of the block, and I'm going to sketch another rectangle on it. I'm going to make it 1.5 inches by 2 inches. And click OK. It's not exactly where I want it to be, so I'll surround it with the view box and then move it where I want it to be, and then hit Escape. Everything is flexible until we've applied constraints to the model. We're going to do something with that rectangle I've just created. We're going to try to get a cut into the block here. Now you notice it's set up for boss now. If I preview that, we're going up. If I change the depth from 1 inch to 750 and preview that, the change is made instantly. But that's not what I want. I want to cut down into the block. So I change it to cut, preview that. That's what I want. So I'm going to click OK, and we're ready to go on to the next feature. I want to cut off the top of the block using a spline, so I'm going to switch my view to that face that I've just selected, and we're going to zoom out just a little bit, and I'll create a spline that I'll use to cut the top surface of the block off. We're just going to sketch a spline by selecting several points as we go. Once I've got the spline I want, I just click OK, and we'll tilt the block around so you can see what's happening. Now here we want to go over to Boss Cut Extrude. I'm going to click on that, and we're going to use this spline we've created to cut off the top of the block. I'm going to change my direction to through all because I want to cut the entire top surface off the block. The type is a sheet, and the thickness is going to be about 1 inch. That will give us a large enough tool to cut off the top of the block without leaving an upper half and a lower half. That's exactly what I want, so I'm going to click OK. And notice over on the left-hand side, the boss cut extrude has been created in the history tree. Next, we're going to go back to the same face. I'll turn it to that face, and we'll zoom out just a little bit. I want to sketch a circle now. So since we're on that construction plane, it's easy to sketch the circle. I'm going to give it a 2.5-inch radius. Circle's not where I want it to be, so I'm just going to pick it up and move it where I want it to be. And then we're going to move into an isometric view. Now my intention here is to create another component. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back to New Component Extrude, and we're going to extrude this circle like we did the original two rectangles. I'll give it a depth of 4 inches, and you notice the arrow pointing in the direction that I want to go. I preview that, and that's not quite what I want. That's a shell, and I want a solid block of material. So I'll go over to Type and change it from shell or sheet to solid. Now click on Preview. Click OK, and now we've got two components. You can see component 2 over in the history tree. Now the next step that I want to do is I want to join those two components together. So we're going to go over to Boolean Union and click on it. We'll click on Target, and we'll click the first component we made. We'll click on Tool, we click the second. We'll preview that, and you'll see that the components are joined together. It's exactly what I want. So we'll go down the history tree, and you can see that Extrude 2 is turned into Boolean 1, and we've got a single piece. I want to put a couple of fillets in here where those two components join each other, so I'm going to select Fillet again. I'm going to change it to 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to go back to the Shaded with Wireframe. This makes it easier to select the areas where you want the fillet to be created. I'm going to hold the Control button down as I select the edges of the fillet, and then once I've got the 3 edges selected, I'll just click on Apply, and the fillet's created. We'll go back to the shaded mode so you can see that. I'm going to move it around a little bit, and we're going to shell out the body of this. I need to select the faces that are going to be shelled, so that's as easy as selecting the shell command, and then we're going to tell it that we want 1/8 of an inch wall thickness. I'm going to pick all the faces that we're going to shell. Once I've got all 4 of them selected, I click on Preview, and then we've shelled out the component. Now the next thing I would like to do is put a flange around the edge of the part. So I'm going to select the face that I want to work on. I'm going to go up to General Construction, Move, and we're going to extract edges. I'm going to extract some wireframe geometry from this face. When I click on that, we've got the circle that defines the inside diameter. I'm going to make a new feature off of that wireframe that I've just chosen. Now this is going to be a boss here, and we're going to make that boss 1/4 inch high, and we're going to make sure that it extrudes outwards about 3/4 or 1/2 an inch. That's good. We'll extrude outwards. We'll preview that, and there's our flange. We'll look at that and click OK, and there's the flange created from the wireframe extracted geometry. Going to zoom in a little bit on this, and we're going to put a chamfer on the edge of this flange. So we'll get in here a little bit, and we're going to go over to where the shell command is, and we're going to change it from shell to chamfer. I'll use an offset and angle here, and we'll put this in for probably something, we'll try 75 thousandths. Just got to click the edge of the flange. We'll apply that, and chamfer is created. And click OK, and we'll move on. I'm going to rotate this around just a little bit because we want to put a hole in that cylinder, that 2.5 inch radius cylinder that we've got connected there. So in order to do this, I've got to create a new construction plane. So we'll move up to where construction planes are created. I'm going to pick one here that's going to be tangent to the face. So I select that, I click on where I want it tangent, and click OK. I'll rotate this around just a little bit. The first step in creating a hole is to create a point. So I'm going to create a point at the origin of that construction plane. Then we're going to go and add a hole feature to this. Select hole. We've got a variety of features that we can add to it. In this case, we're going to just add a simple hole through here. I'm going to go into the inch mode since we're working in inches, and I'll give it a hole diameter of 0.375. I need this hole to go all through the material, so I'm going to click through, and then we'll preview that, and there's the hole. See the simple hole showing up in the history tree on the left-hand side. We'll rotate this around just a little bit. We want to make a bunch of holes around here, so we're going to go back to where the hole features are created. I'm going to make a circular array from this. So we're going to use the one hole we created and repeat. When we select the reference axis, I'm just going to select the cylinder. Now when I select this cylinder, you'll see a center line created from that cylinder. There it is. Now we've got to select the procedure that we want to rotate. In this case, I pick procedure. I go over to the history tree and I select simple hole. Next question is to tell it how many holes we want. We've got 2 showing right now, but if I want more, I just increase the number, and then I can preview that, and I can see all of them as they're created. So we've got 6 holes from the first one. If I don't want 6, I back it down. We change it to 5. Preview that. I like 5. I'll click OK, and we're good. Now the biggest advantage of Part Modeler is that we can change anything we created earlier and rebuild the model. Here I'm going to change it from 375. We'll change that to 4 so they're equal. Click the checkbox. All the changes are applied. Now we click the Rebuild button and we have a completely new model. Want to change it back? Just go back and change the dimension. We'll go back to 3.75. Check the model, rebuild, and we're good to go again. I'm going to set this back up in an isometric view, and next we're going to extract a drawing from this so you can see how that works. It's very easy to extract a drawing from a part model and supply annotation to it. We just go to New, Drawing, and here I'm going to select a template that's a D-size template. I want to put the part full size on that template. Go over here and extract the view that we want. I'm going to start off with a top view with the hidden lines removed. I'm going to just place this into position, and from this view we'll extract a secondary view and then a third view from that. Next, I want to create an isometric view that's about half the size of the actual size views that we've got on the template. So I'll go and extract another view, tell it I want isometric. I'm going to make it half the size by changing our scale factor, and then we're going to select Shaded. And click OK, and then we'll just place this as normal. We have full dimensioning capability here, and I'll just show you a little bit of that. We're going to apply a standard dimension to that rectangle that's showing in the upper left view. Click on Standard Dimension. We'll zoom up on the rectangle. I'm going to select the 2 points here. We can either get an angle off of this or a 1.5 inch dimension. I'm going to select the 1.5 inch dimension. We'll dimension the other side, and there's 2, and these are the dimensions from our original model. Next, I'm going to go back to the original model, and we'll change the dimensions of that. We'll go back in here. We'll select our history tree. Going to find the Boss Cut Extrude feature and go back to the original profile. We'll look at this, zoom in a little bit, and we'll change that 1.5 inch dimension to 2 inches. So we'll have a square instead of a rectangle. We change that to 2, check the box, rebuild the model. After we've rebuilt the model, we go back into our drawing view, and you can see that the dimensions are changed. So this is fully associative. Whenever you change the model, you change the drawing.